In the previous video, we have discussed the short-lived appearance of the Flame Hashira. Kyojuro Rengoku in Demon Slayer was significant not only for the Mugen Train arc, but for the development of Demon Slayer's overall story. He sacrificed himself for the sake of Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Inosuke, Nezuko, and every passenger of the train, made him the best character to exist in the Demon Slayer. Rengoku was undoubtedly ready to fight when an Upper Moon 3 demon suddenly appeared, even right after beating the Mugen Train. It's like when a louder, more daunting boss music begins to play after struggling to defeat a mini-boss whom you've thought to be the final boss of a level. However, his fight with a said upper demon who goes by the name Akaza led to Rengoku's meaningful death, which makes us ask the question, who is the demon Akaza? Where does his strength comes from? What is Akaza's true motive for persuading Rengoku to turn into a demon? Little did we know that the demon we've come to despise for taking the Flame Hashira's life is more than a bloodthirsty upper moon who's obsessed with gaining power. In this video, we're gonna deep dive into Akaza's arc and go beyond his first appearance in Mugen Train. So, if you're comfortable with significant spoilers, please take the pleasure of watching. However, if you don't want to get spoiled regarding Akaza's backstory, we strongly suggest that you click away from this video. So who is Akaza? To provide a general answer to which we will elaborate later on, it turns out that Akaza might just be the most well-written villain in the whole Demon Slayer mangaka. The mangaka intentionally trained us to hate Akaza right from his first appearance, when he suddenly appeared to kill Rengoku, who is a very lovable character introduced to us. Akaza has shown the full extent of his powers during his fight with Rengoku. I was personally shocked to see him regenerate a severed arm quickly, which ultimately tells us that he's not easy to kill. Not even with a Flame Hashira as strong as Rengoku. We despise him more when Akaza fled into the woods as the sun began to rise. Tanjiro called him a coward for fleeing them, although he was not running away from the Demon Slayers but from the sun. This shown how unfair Akaza could be, regenerating his limbs into victory. In the succeeding chapters, we hate him more as he humiliates Tanjiro. In some instances, he even called him a weakling. We see him as Tanjiro's bully who killed an important person he looks up to, Rengoku. Yet, believe it or not, no matter how much you hate him, Akaza is the perfect example of how Demon Slayer wants demons to be perceived. Through Akaza's story, we acknowledge the notion that demons are not inherently evil, but rather a product of tragic sequence of events due to or along with a problematic disposition in life. To simply understand it, think of Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips' Joker. Joker wasn't born evil right away. He's a guy suffering from pathological laughter and dreams of being a stand-up comic. But the way his environment mistreated him has caused him to develop a wicked moral compass, ultimately motivating him to destroy, wreak havoc on the people who collectively hurt him. Trying it up with the demons in Demon Slayer, they are also victims of a society they once lived in. So to fully understand Akaza's arc, we must know how the society he was once a part of has mistreated him. Demon Slayer revealed Akaza's backstory right before it comes to a halt and would transpire midway through the Infinity Castle arc when Tanjiro intervened in Akaza's battle with Jiyu. Unlike in Mugen Train, Akaza has faced a much stronger Tanjiro, who now has the Demon Slayer mark and has the ability to access the transparent world. Akaza was even astounded that Tanjiro has no battle spirit, a thing even babies possess, and that he's like fighting a plant that isn't supposed to be there. Akaza's head has already been detached from his body, yet he tried hard to put it back and continued to fight. Have you ever seen a chicken that has been decapitated? It's kinda like that, but Akaza's no chicken. This is when an unfamiliar figure, a crying ghost of a girl, appeared and begged Akaza to stop and let go. Akaza's reply to the girl gave us an initial glimpse of his past. He replied that he needed to be stronger to get the medicine for his father. But who is this girl? Was it his sister like Nezuko was to Tanjiro? No, that isn't the case. The ghost girl was named Koyuki, and he wasn't related to Akaza by blood. However, it seems that they were bound by destiny. Akaza was known as Hakuji when he was a human, and he met Koyuki as the sick daughter of Keizu, a dojo master who acted not only as a mentor to Hakuji, but also as a friend, a father figure. I believe that a father figure is essential for Hakuji. As mentioned earlier, Akaza talks about getting medicine for his dad. He grew up motherless and only with a father bedridden with sickness. Without the economic mobility to treat his father, Hakuji resorted to pickpocketing at the early age of 11. During his pickpocketing days, he acquired 3 tattoo lines around his arm, signifying he's a criminal, making people avoid him at sight. He was caught several times and was beaten up as a punishment. When threatened by the magistrate that he would chop off Hakuji's arm, he simply laughed and said he'd use his feet instead for pickpocketing. Hakuji did not stop right away because he knew that stopping meant giving up the chance of his father's recovery. And of course, what didn't kill him only made him stronger. We can view that the punishment he received as pickpocketing child served as his first initial martial arts training, or explained why he could endure such pain and regenerate quickly. However, Hakuji's father was the first to give up. Out of shame for Hakuji's crimes, his father committed suicide and apologized for being a nuisance because his son had to steal from other people to help him. This ultimately made Hakuji, or Akaza, a failed Robin Hood. His intention was inherently good, but even his benefactor deemed his ways of helping to be corrupt. And he had an encounter with Keizu after his father's suicide. Hakuji quickly sympathized with Keizu for 2 apparent reasons. The first reason was Keizu respected Hakuji's strength. Upon meeting Hakuji, Keizu inflicted 100 punches at him, to which Hakuji incredibly survived. And because of Hakuji's extraordinary resistance to such attacks, Keizu decided to adopt Hakuji as a student. The second reason involves Keizu's daughter, Koyuki, who was again, like Hakuji's father, bedridden from sickness. The sick people in Hakuji's life enabled him to show his hidden compassion and kindness. On one occasion, he contemplated why sick people often apologize for being ill or for doing things due to sickness like coughing, as if it was their fault to be sick, heartbreakingly resonating to his father's suicide, who on his death apologized for being sick. There was also an instance where Hakuji promised Koyuki that he wouldn't watch the fireworks unless it were with her, so she needs to recover from illness. These were the significant moments of Akaza's human life that reeked vulnerability. It would probably change the way you look at him right now. But how did he exactly become a demon? What was his breaking point? It has something to do with Keizu being a dojo master. Hakuji was his sole student and was told about a rivalry between other dojos. Hakuji was trained and nurtured by Keizu until he became virtually unbeatable. And so, rival dojos undermined them by literally poisoning their dojo's well, leading to Keizu and Koyuki's death. Hakuji had naturally sought vengeance and proceeded to murder 70 members of the rival dojo. An incident so absurd and preposterous, it was described as fictitious. After committing the bloody crime, Hakuji has lost his purpose. And this was when he encountered Muzan, who of course turned him into a demon named Akaza. And as a demon, remnants of his past still affected his behavior. Akaza was the only demon who doesn't kill and eat women, even if it would make him stronger. However, since his memories were erased, Akaza has essentially become a mindless killing machine, seeking strength without a definite reason. That is why I think he wants Rengoku to be a demon too, to share an obsession with getting stronger. During his fight with Rengoku, Akaza mentioned that Rengoku's strength is limited because he's only human. If he turned into a demon, they would be able to fight forever. and train each other beyond their current capabilities. Yet, when we saw his backstory, we realized that Akaza has a limit too, an irrational obsession with power. For he was stripped away of every purpose to fight when he was still alive. Akaza's character ultimately signifies that without purpose, power would be useless. We could easily empathize with Hakuji or Akaza's problems, but he ultimately fails with the way he handles these problems. He is kind enough to care for the sick, but corrupt enough to steal other people's money. He is strong enough to endure punishment, but vengeful enough to murder a whole dojo. We could respect him for his struggles, but could we really forgive him for his crimes? That, my friends, is a question up for debate. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Well, that's all we could chip in for the mangaka that we discussed today. If you love this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to our channel. As always, this has been Flick and Chips.